Saturday again, time to get some more work done. What have I done in the week? I've not really done a lot, a few bits and pieces. I've started trying to work out coolant pipes and routing, but it's proven to be quite tricky. Well, not tricky, but tricky trying to do it without costing myself a fortune. So I'll take you through where I'm at now in a minute and carry on. I got a bit of grief over this last week about my jumper from my friends, so I've worn the same one again. I'm not going to wear my best jumpers in the garage when I'm working on the car, am I? Never mind. Right, so I've got the engine back out of the car because I need to do a few things. I've got the gearbox in, and I'm just looking at now this gear linkage, where it's going to mount, where it's going to sit, because it can go in a few different places. I think it needs to be down here, so then I have to drill a hole through the bulkhead, but I want to try and get it as central as I can, really. Somewhere like that with a pivot where that centre piece is going to be about right. It'll have to be a fair size hole through the bulkhead because it can't quite come back far enough. I guess it could come back to there, but I've got to be careful I don't cause any problems with it pivoting. So I'm going to first, I think I need to make something for it to pivot about, and then I can make the hole and adapt the linkage. So first job is to make that pivot in the centre. So, as usual, I got quite carried away in doing stuff without filming as much as I wanted. I think I've got most of it on, but I'll show you what I was making when the GoPro battery went flat. So, just down here, if you have a look, I'll just put this light down somewhere. There we go. If you have a look here, this part is assembly something I've bought from eBay. So I've made this plate that bolts on down here and here. It's folded at the top with a stud on. That's welded. What I did was drilled through put the stud in, welded that side and this side. That's a threaded bar that I've put some 14mm OD, 12mm ID tube over, and nut and bolt on the top, so that pivots around there. So that acts as the pivot for the gear selector, which goes onto the gearbox there. So now that can move in and out to change gears. I've made a hole through the bulkhead under there, and I've not finished this bit yet, so I've got the, let me go around. Got the gear selector sort of sat roughly in the position. I need to make a mounting bracket to hold it in, but I've been through the gears and I've got all the gears, so that's the kind of the position it's going to be in. It's a bit awkward up close on that back edge near the handbrake there, so I might just see if I can move it forward half an inch or so, but it's roughly the same place as where the mini gear lever was. That's another little piece ticked off. So before I finish this video, edit it and get it out, I'm going to finish mounting that gear selector. I've run out of time today. What I'm going to do is I've cut this piece of box section, that's going to bolt to the floor, and then on the top of the then the gear selector will go on the top of there, and then I'll pick up off the, for the back edge, because it needs to sit at an angle so it's raised at the front. The back edge, I'll bolt something to a flat piece of steel to the original gear selector mounting holes, and then drill into that and mount the back edge onto there. Then I just need to fill in the hole that it leaves for the gear selector, because I don't need the gear selector under the car anymore. So I'll jump on to the next bit in a few moments. I've just started editing the video that you've just been watching, and realised I didn't show you the final mounting of the gear lever, which is kind of a pretty important part. So I'm going to jump in the car now and show you. Right, it's a bit messy in here. It's not very good on the old light, but see if I can show you what's going on. So as you can see, I mentioned before, down here, if I can get the light somewhere near, I've made a flat, it's just a flat bar with a couple of, you can see the weld on the back of there, can you? A couple of studs that go through the original gear selector mount holes, and then a couple of threaded holes where it screws onto there, and same on the other side. And then on the front edge, I didn't use that box section I showed you before. I've used this I don't know, 10-12mm bar, which has got some studs, you can see welded there. Going down, I've drilled a couple of new holes through the floor either end, with a couple of studs coming up, so that's mounted solid to there. So I just need to fill a hole in underneath. I had to cut and weld, it's not very nice or neat, but it's in the right place, this bar, because it was that much longer, I think, and it went down at an angle which I didn't need. So that leaves me with, let me see if I can put this light somewhere useful, the gear selector mounted in the car, and it's hooked up to the gearbox, so we can go for first, no that wasn't first, second, third, fourth, fifth gear, and then all the way across and up, reverse, you have to pull up on that. So that's a good step, we've got all the gears. So next thing I need to do with this is fill a hole in under the lever, and then make some sort of trim to cover this up and this. So a good little bit of progress. I'm quite pleased with the position of that as well. When you sat back in the seat, it's at a nice position, doesn't get in the way of anything. So clears the handbrake, it's a bit tight but clears it. So I'm going to make some trim to go around there, something for that to clip into. Maybe I'll stick a cup holder at the front, who knows. But yeah, that's another bit ticked off. So with another bit ticked off the list, I'm going to move on to next. I need to get those brake hose pieces I showed you in the last video welded onto the subframe. Once I've done that, I've got to get the subframe out of the car, and then I can paint it. Cut off a few little bits and pieces I don't need. Have a look over, make sure there's no other welding bits and bobs I need to do. Get that painted up and final assembled. I need to fit another fuel line, or the twin fuel lines running along the car, so I've got my return fuel line. And then I need to go and see my friend Alex, Mr. Hawks. He's got a fuel tank for me, and I can start looking at fuel system then. Once I've got the fuel lines run and the fuel tank in, which I need to get a fuel pump for, I can then start thinking about wiring it all up. And the last expensive part that I need to do is the exhaust system and manifold, which I think is going to be a bit expensive, but we'll see how that goes. Oh, I've got dry shafts. I've had some work done on some dry shafts, and I'll show you those in my next video. I think that's going to be all about dry shafts. So for this one, the gear selector's done. I'll see you next time. Thanks very much.